A second reading from Richard A. Young's book, Healing the Earth, A Theocentric Perspective on Environmental Problems and Their Solutions, published by Broadman Holman, 1994. The heart of the Christian message is salvation. Although traditionally this has been understood in terms of human salvation, the Scriptures present a much broader concept. It is obligatory on the Christian community, especially considering today's growing environmental problems, to articulate the concept of a cosmic salvation. In the Old Testament, salvation basically meant deliverance from bondage, disease, trouble, or enemies. The idea of deliverance carries over into the New Testament, but with spiritual and moral connotations. The cosmic understanding views both humanity and nature as being overpowered by the forces of decay and death and in need of divine healing. This does not remove the idea of human sin from soteriological discussion. Instead, it moves it into the forefront, for it is sin that fractures relations and leads to the dying of the planet. Salvation can no longer be limited to humanity, because humans are bound together with the rest of creation. What happens to one happens to the other. Just as nature was implicated in the fall, so it will be included in the restoration. Christ's work on the cross was intended to restore every consequence of Adam's sin and heal every broken relationship, including those that affect nature. A cosmic salvation is not as alien as it might seem. Peter remarked that God sent Christ into the world on a two-phase mission: to redeem the world and to usher in the times of refreshing. Acts 3:19-21. Christ is to remain in the heaven until the second phase, in which he will return and restore everything. When relationships are restored, healing will occur, and a new creation will emerge, one that reflects the wholeness, balance, and harmony it once enjoyed. Just as Christ was the active agent in the original creation, John 1:1-3, so is he the active agent in the new creation. What God desires to abolish are the effects of the fall on all life. This would include human sin, the curse, disease, entropy, physical death, and all alienations and estrangements within the creation community and between that community and God. Another area of biblical affirmation is the purposes God intended for creation. God's reasons for nature contradict the common understanding that nature's sole purpose is human utility. Some of the reasons include God's enjoying the creatures he made, admiring the beauty of creation, allowing nature to praise and testify of him, inspiring awe and wonder in people, as well as being mutually beneficial for all God's creatures. Nature, for example, is to be enjoyed just as God enjoys it, without having to use or consume it in order to enjoy it, as with materialism. Our primary allegiance is to God, not to the environment, evangelism, missions, the church, or one another. Said another way, the primary mission of the church is not evangelism or social action. It is pleasing God. When God occupies the primary place in our list of priorities, then everything else will fall into proper order, with a proper balance between them. Otherwise, some important facets of God's will for his people during this age will be neglected. The mission of the church is to bring glory to God by being obedient to the broad spectrum of God's desires. Submission to God will encompass social concern, environmental action, and personal evangelism, for all play their part in the reclamation of the world for God. It is not a matter of choosing between evangelism or social activities as a primary mission of the church. The main focus is serving God. The only way to make sure that all God's desires will be attended to is to say that the primary mission of the church is to please God. The radical affirmations of the Christian faith offer the only hope for total healing of the environment. Our help, as the psalmist wrote, is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Psalm 124, verse 8. The Jewish prophets envisioned that God would heal their broken land when the people repented of their sins and returned to God. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked way, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. 2 Chronicles 7:14.